Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. If this is your first time joining the Jamf team for a webinar, welcome. If you've been with us before, welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about employee choice programs and how, by offering it, it can help benefit your organization in a few different ways. Today, we're going to talk through the fundamental building blocks in offering an employee choice program and what it can do to impact your organization as you look to offer Apple technology and manage it. My name is Kat, and I'm part of the Jamf team. I worked for Apple for about 4.5 years and was part of a help desk after that used Jamf for 2 years. So for a time, I was an Apple employee as well as a Jamf customer. I'm now a Jamf employee and work very closely with helping our partners and their customers be successful with their Apple technology through Jamf. I'll be taking us on today's tour in discussing fundamentals in employee choice programs and how Jamf can play a pivotal role in supporting IT, HR, and other business priorities with Apple technology. Let's take a quick look at today's agenda. Today we're going to quickly recap who we are, how we work together. We're going to unravel what we found when organizations that offer employee choice learn what companies like IBM have done by implementing Jamf Pro and Apple's deployment programs, what features they are using that has helped them be successful in deployment, security, help desk tickets, employee happiness, and how you can leverage these same concepts in your own business and organization. We'll go through the agenda, and then we'll also have some time at the end for Q&A. Let's take a quick minute to review, especially for those who are new, who Jamf is. So at Jamf, we're here to help organizations be successful with the Apple platform. We were founded in 2002. Our co-founder, Zach, was a Mac admin and was trying to manage Apple devices at the University of Wisconsin, but did not have a management tool for the Apple devices. There were tools in existence for Windows devices, but nothing for Apple at the time. He found himself manually setting up, deploying each device that came to him. As you can imagine, and probably even relate to, over time the Mac population grew, and Zach found himself spending a lot of time manually setting this up. So he began scripting and created Jamf Pro to help automate these tasks, save him time, be secure, and more efficient. It's been a great tool for IT. As Mac populations grow in companies, just as other technical environments like Windows machines, a need for management grows to secure, deploy, and maintain the devices. So when it came to managing Apple devices, I like to say we started the trend when it came to including Apple in the workplace and offering a solution that does just that. In the topic of employee choice and organizations wanting the right technology for talent, when choosing Apple technology, Jamf Pro is really the glue between IT, employees, and hardware. Jamf Pro lets you accomplish zero-touch deployments, device configuration, app management, extensive inventory, manage security controls, and provides your users with a self-service app catalog that you can populate with approved apps and resources. I like to think of Jamf Pro as the Swiss Army knife when it comes to managing Apple technology. And we're also considered the Apple standard when it comes to managing Apple devices because our solutions focus solely on Apple. And with our solution managing only Apple devices, you get the most reliable MDM, best feature set, and best supported MDM for that platform. We're going to showcase more of Jamf Pro a little later, but for now, let's talk about the hows and whys of user choice and what we're seeing. So when we dive into today's topic, employee choice, when employees get to choose their own technology and how that impacts an organization. Now, this is something we support today and have really been supporting this model for quite some time. And we're finding organizations of all sizes can leverage this model. We've been featured in support organizations that are using Jamf to streamline this process. There are 4 categories of folks, in our opinion, that truly benefit from employee choice that we'll uncover today as it gets implemented. First, the employee, IT, HR, and finance. We'll go through these in detail throughout the presentation and what benefits are reaped as employee choice programs are implemented. Let's look at the industry trends of why this program is coming into fold and how Apple and Jamf are supporting organizations looking to incorporate Mac at work, just like IBM. We found that when employees want to choose technology they like, it makes them more productive. Employees who can choose and are able to focus better have better collaboration skills, fast learners, and they're not spending as much time troubleshooting their technology. What we're also seeing in surveys, when employees are given the option to choose between Windows or Apple technology, 75% are choosing Apple. Employees want to choose what they are familiar with, and many grew up or are familiar with Apple or use it personally. You may be on today's webinar because your colleagues or employees ask to have Apple technology. Chances are, if you survey your organization, you may see a similar result or a similar push when they are given the option. Employee retention is something organizations are highly focused on as well, especially in HR. Fortune reported that 87% of employers said improving retention is a critical priority for their organization. And this manifests in about 3 areas of focus: finding and attracting top talent, retaining the talent you currently have, and ensuring your employees are as productive as they can be. So when you look at the overall landscape of jobs today, it's kind of one of those things where who knew that worlds could collide so much between HR and IT? Beyond setting up the computers, maintaining them, offering employees and future talent the option for the right technology has become key. It's like being part of an orchestra when you have a new job and are given technology. When you join a new job, they don't say, okay, here's this. Or if you join an orchestra, they don't say, okay, you play the violin, here's a flute. So you're going to be part of the ensemble, and you're going to want to use the technology you are most comfortable with and passionate about. The same thing applies in the workplace. Choice programs in managing Apple devices can seemingly be challenging, and we get it. You have to deal with a lot, and there's a lot to consider. We know organizations may have objections or concerns to incorporating Apple technology in their environment or changing the standard and having a mixed environment and what to do. So let's look at the common challenges and findings. You may be asking yourself, or even other people in your organization, such in finance, might be asking questions like, how do we roll this out? What's the cost of this? How do we manage them? Will it be more secure? How can we support it? This might be disruptive. I don't know. Apple hardware costs more. So you might be seeing some of this, and there's a lot to consider, and this is where we can help. You may also be asking, and things can go wrong if we don't have the right tool. You can't provision your Macs. They won't be set up for your users. You might need to manually set up some updates. You'll have to manually deploy software, rely on the users to potentially update. You'll have to track inventory manually. Perhaps the PC security settings won't exactly match what we have and didn't directly translate. So you'll have to spend time fulfilling tickets instead of getting work done. And these are great questions to ask, but that's really where an Apple management solution is needed. And we've done this for Windows devices. Can we do this for Apple hardware? And we're the answer to that. You need the right tool for the job, and it's kind of like that concept that we like to say around here. You might be able to use a hammer to put in a screw, but you're better off using, the correct tool. And that's really it. And we're that right tool to help with that. So with Jamf, we can address all of these things. And this is where it really becomes a tool that IT needs to be successful in managing Apple hardware. And this is really where IT starts seeing the mounds of benefits. From provisioning, setting up Macs automatically and reducing IT friction, security, compliance, ensuring your Macs meet that same security standards as your PCs. It might be the same end goal, but perhaps the routes to get there are a little different. Software development, keeping your operating system and third-party software up to date, self-help tools to empower your employees and minimize IT tickets. So Jamf Pro is really that solution, and I want to take us on this tour now and take a look at some of the elements of Jamf Pro and how it has helped organizations in deploying, managing, and securing their Apple devices and how it benefits IT and employees. So first, let's look at provisioning. This represents a common PC provisioning workflow. Once a customer orders the devices, they need to spend time preparing and preloading complex images. Those images then typically sit in a warehouse where software becomes out of date, and then the device is needed by a user. Finally, when the time is right, the PC is then shipped to the user, and it has that standard image and potentially out-of-date software. This isn't a great experience for IT, and it's certainly not the best experience for the end user, as they may find themselves having to do some troubleshooting and setting up and updates as soon as they get their new device. Wouldn't it be great if there were an easier way? And you may have heard of a little company called IBM. They were actually doing this prior to the Apple and Jamf recommendation, which I'm going to tell us a little bit more about right now. So with Apple, it's much easier to allow for zero-touch deployment. So the image you just saw where you have to manually set it up, that's not required here. We leverage DEP. So you can simply order your devices from Apple, have them shipped to the user ready to go. And this allows them to basically, or allows you really to drop ship your technology programmed with the apps, software, permissions, restrictions right out of the box. So how does that work? Jamf is really the glue when it comes to Apple's push notification server. I like to think of it as it changes the DNA of that device and pushes down the configuration from the cloud saying, hang on a sec, this device is owned by a company, and this device has special software, rules, restrictions, permissions that need to go on it. And this is what accomplishes zero-touch deployment. Our largest deployment, IBM, used this model to deploy an average of 1,900 Macs a week. So they were able to deploy at that capacity Macs without having to touch each and every one of them. So this allowed them to order the devices, get them straight to the end user. The end user got to unbox that technology from the shrink wrap, and they were provisioned over the air. So let's see how this works from the end user's view. So if we pretend I just received my Mac, I unboxed it, turned down the power button, I would choose my country, choose the keyboard I'm most comfortable with, and then I can select my own Wi-Fi, or this can also be automated if you pre-program it. And then they see this message, and this is where the device is talking to Jamf and Apple's push notification server, and this is where the DNA is changed. And this will actually show your organization's company name instead of Jamf. Because we own this device, it shows our name, so it would show your organization's name. If you are binding to a directory service such as Apple or Active Directory, this is where that would happen. So you can also integrate that. And then the end user would then create their computer account. Finally, they'll see this final prompt that is setting up their Mac and applying any other additional items that were provisioned. And in addition, the self-service app is installed. And this is where end users can go to get the tools and resources they need without having to submit a ticket to IT. It's a great experience for the end user and a great experience for IT. So the icon we're seeing here, this is self-service, and this really allows that end user to get what they need. We want to provide a good end user experience and enable them with a way to get resources without having always to submit an IT ticket. And this is what IT has allowed. So let's talk about this just a little bit more. And then real quick, they're also seeing those prompts. So they're also being notified as to what's going on. So self-service is your end user portal, and this can be populated by IT-approved resources that employees can get with just a click. They can easily install software, set up printers, configure email and VPN settings. And this can also notify your user about software updates and customize the app to be branded with your company's logo. All of these tasks that you see here can be automated and placed into the hands of the users, so there's no ticket required. By not having to fulfill these types of common tickets, IT saves time and can focus on implementing other more specific or strategic projects. Next, let's take a look at security and compliance, as these are often big questions for IT, the organization as a whole. So let's see how we help there. Here are a few examples of configuration profiles that you can build and deploy your Apple devices. Passcode, network configuration, mail, security and privacy, and so on. Here are some of the things that the Jamf agent can do. This is almost like giving you, it is actually giving you admin rights to the machine without having to really sit in front of it. This is what our agent or binary can do. Earlier I had mentioned that Jamf is a Swiss Army knife when it comes to Apple management, and this is why. This is where you can see a lot of the customizations and that extra flexibility. So think of yourself as maybe needing to create an account for a user, but maybe you're not in front of that machine. Maybe it's for a remote employee. And maybe you also don't want that employee to have admin rights. Things like that you can do. Or if there's certain customizations, there are scripts that you can upload. So this is really where you start to see that flexibility that can be applied in your organization to meet your security and requirements. Next, let's talk a little bit about inventory. So when devices are enrolled, Jamf collects a wide range of inventory data that will let you build custom reports for the information that you may care about. Additionally, Groups can be created for your Apple devices, and you can leverage inventory data to create those. So static groups are defined as a group of devices that you can apply a profile or policy to. And that is really great for a known group, like a classroom, a lab, or a specific department. Smart groups, on the other hand, work the other way around and can help automate management tasks. So you get a list of criteria. Jamf Pro will dynamically search your inventory for matching devices. You can then set profiles or policies to run automatically based on membership of that group. So next, let's talk about security and compliance. Here are some common security tasks that IT admins use Jamf Pro to help keep their Mac secure. First, we have the ability to enforce a passcode, and you can determine if you want it to be a complex passcode. Maybe you want it to lock after a certain amount of time. Maybe you also want the device to auto-prompt the end user to change their passcode after a certain amount of time. And then you can also enforce the native macOS encryption tool known as File Vault to encrypt the entire device. You can also escrow the keys centrally inside your Jamf Pro server. It is common in Windows environments to purchase additional encryption software. With Apple and Jamf, you can leverage the native tools to help save money in additional software costs. This is where it also tends to benefit your finance teams, and this is actually something that IBM was doing that I'll talk a little bit more in just a bit. Other things you can do, such as enforce gatekeeper settings, and that's Apple's built-in security tool to prevent users from downloading malware. We can also restrict system preferences, so users can't modify their local account permissions, change app install permissions, or allow them to modify the date and time. You can also restrict consumer features like the camera, Apple Music, or even specific iCloud features such as iCloud Drive. And then you can also restrict specific apps. So if someone tried to hypothetically install an app or software that they shouldn't have, it'll find and kill the process. Something that I've seen done in the past, maybe there's software that you're using that isn't compatible at the moment. This will allow you to basically kind of save your end users from themselves in a way where they might be saying, "Ooh, I'm so excited for this," but it may not be compatible with the software you're using. So if they accidentally go to try to upgrade and the timing just isn't right, you can prevent that and it'll terminate the process. And if a Mac ever goes missing, you can remotely lock or wipe it. So these are a few of the MDM commands available. And this will allow you to keep your Mac safe, secure, and in compliance. Next, let's talk about software patching. Device security is just one half of the security story. You'll want to ensure your operating system and third-party software is always up to date. And with Jamf Pro, you can do that. So for custom software deployments and apps outside of the App Store like Office, Adobe, you can take snapshots of that software and create a custom package. You can then upload that package to Jamf Pro and push it out of your client's Macs with the Jamf agent. Once that software is installed, you can then automate the patching of that software with Jamf's built-in patch management tools. We track and report on about over 50 software titles that are curated by Jamf. And if there are any software titles that you're curious about, reach out to us and ask us. We also integrate with other solutions too. Again, because of our specificity with Apple, we integrate seamlessly with all of Apple's deployment solutions. We know you may have other hardware that you may need to support or additional software that you may need in your environment. Or you have other needs and you just need to help remain secure or on task. So Jamf can help with multi-platform environments. Software with third-party integrations. We leverage API connections and webhooks to accomplish this. This is just a small sampling of what we can integrate with. So if there is something that you are looking that to integrate with that perhaps you don't see here, let us know. We'd be happy to explore that with you. And then this is an example of self-service and some of the things that you see here that you can have readily available for your employees. So to recap, this is how Jamf Pro helps with these areas in Mac management: provisioning management, software, inventory, security, self-help. And what's driving this? And as we saw earlier, it's the employees. Employee choice. And when employees have the right to choose the technology they want and is done successfully, IT is more motivated and wants to support it. Employees already want it, and it helps HR and executives with employee retention. Let's take a look at IBM and what they've done as they really had started this out. So in 2015, IBM was due for a refresh. Essentially, they started seeing a push for Apple technology from their employees. With a large refresh, they were open to letting employees choose to work with the technology that made them happy. They announced that year that they were going to start offering employees a choice to choose their hardware. So you see here Fletcher Previn, who was a CIO, and he really led that change. Here he is speaking at our Jamf Nation user conference in October of 2015. By October 2016, Fletcher provided an update to say they had now deployed over 100,000 Macs, making them the world's largest Mac deployment. IBM conducted an internal survey asking their employees what device they would prefer for the next computer if choice was an option. And an astonishing 73% of IBMers said they would prefer a Mac over PC. So when we look at the overall industry trend that showed 75% earlier, when IBM surveyed their employees, they were right there with that industry trend. What they also found when they were surveying the employees later on for satisfaction, they saw a 10-point increase from 2015 to 2016 due to IBM providing better tools, aka the Mac. And then this was a surprising find for them, and this is where I think it'll make your finance teams pretty happy. So overall, IBM claims to have saved between $273 to $543 per Mac. They purchased over that time frame comparable to the PC. So this is based on a 4-year total cost ownership TCO model. So let's unravel this a little bit more. So when they were looking at their management stack, they had the hardware, they had to consider support, they had to consider the management solution, software distribution, staff, help desk. They chose to not bind their Macs to Active Directory, and this gave them the ability to be local admins. They relied on the native OS Mac security due to licensing. They also found that SCCM and Intune combined to manage their PCs was about 364% more expensive than to use Jamf to manage their Macs. This also saves on staff and help desk costs, and thanks to the fewer support calls for their Mac users. Overall, they found Windows to be about 3 times more expensive to support and manage. So IBM, when they enrolled this, they didn't look at this as a way to save money or even as an IT project. They wanted to change the culture of IBM. And to quote, this is an extension of the culture we want to have at IBM. We thought of this as a culture program, not an IT program. And it's not just IBM. Other Fortune 500 companies are following in their footsteps. Here you see SAP, Capital One, and Walmart. And they also spoke at our Jamf Nation user conference, or rather JNUC, this past October and shared their experiences when they started offering employee choice. And to quote Capital One, when we let employees choose what they use, and overwhelmingly they choose Apple products, it enables them to be more productive and work the way they want to work. So let's take some time to recap. We saw this slide earlier, but now that we've talked through the employee choice, let's recap on how this has helped. As we saw, this benefits the employee. They get to use the technology they want. They're happier and more productive. All is right in the world, in my opinion. Then with IT, you have the right tools to support the matching product. IT can resolve issues faster, automate certain tasks, ensure you're remaining secure and in compliance. The benefits for IT really go on. And then, of course, with industry trends, we're seeing with HR that there is a fight for retaining talent, and something IBM discovered was by offering the right tools to employees, it made them happier overall, happier with their job. Surprisingly found this helps with retaining talent for the long term. And ultimately, it costs money to lose employees and train employees, so this impacts finance in a way as well. So you're saving the total cost of ownership and you're also saving for training your employees. So altogether, especially with what we saw with IBM, the total cost of ownership over time proved that the model of Jamf and Apple together ultimately can save money and allow you to really manage the technology as you like. At the end of the day, we're here to help support you. It boils down to a few things. When you are using the right tools to support a specific platform, you have that Swiss Army knife to let you do just that. This means when you have the right tools in your toolbox, you can resolve problems faster, get people what they need faster, and be more efficient. So, sure, you can find another tool, but really this is the one that's going to give you everything that you need. And it creates that seamless experience for the end users. It allows that level of control that's necessary while also leveraging the native tools. So companies like IBM are not needing to spend additional money to help with that. And the great thing is Jamf Pro is scalable. So whether you're looking to deploy and manage 50 Macs, 25,000 Macs, it's mainly the same formula to success, done over the air, and we work with Apple's deployment solutions to accomplish this. Since our inception, more than 13,000 customers rely on us to manage their Apple technology. We currently have about 12 million devices under management, 15,000 customers, and we have a 97% customer retention rate. And that's something we're very proud of, as we are here to really help you be successful. It's our motto, but through our onboardings, additional trainings, support, we not only know Jamf really well, we know Apple really well, and we're here to help you with that. We also now have 50,000 members of our Jamf Nation community, and that's our free online membership. So you can join, do your research on Jamf, learn from other people who are Mac admins, and it's a really great way to have a mind share amongst the community. Other industries that are using Jamf. So you had heard about IBM, of course, some of the other names out there. We're also working with 10 of the top 10 banks in the United States. So what does this mean? I mean, when you think about it, banks are under the most scrutiny for security, and they're all the top ones are relying on us to help them be successful in that. We're also working with 8 of the top 10 tech companies, 9 of the top 10 media companies, and so on. So from the time you're researching or looking to deploy Apple hardware to the time you're looking to retire it, our team is here to help and support and ensure a good experience throughout the device's lifecycle. From the early stages of planning, deploying, and integrating with DEP, VPP, to the time they say, we need to swap out this device, Jamf is here to help you with that. All of this brought together really focuses on the device lifecycle management, and we're here to help every step of the way. Jamf also offers more to help you be successful. Our professional services offer on-location or remote services to customize Jamf Pro for your environment. We also offer certification courses led by our training team. You can become an expert in Jamf Pro and widen your skill sets. Finally, we have world-class support from the Apple experts across the globe. We even offer 24/7 support via our premium support packages. And then, of course, we would be nothing without our customers, which, again, we're incredibly proud of our Jamf Nation community. As I mentioned earlier, there's 50,000 members, and it's really a great mind share. It's free and open forum where Apple IT-focused individuals can learn from each other and gain the best practices. If you need more information, please reach out to us. We scratched the surface today, so if you have any questions or want to talk to us, see how Jamf could fit into your organization, my team and I are here to support you. Again, I want to thank you all so much for taking time out of your day to connect with me. I hope you learned something new that can help your organization.